Thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, everybody. Besides computing the national and subnational figures for poverty, what we try to do is to explore geographical distribution of poverty across rural and urban areas. We use the same set of indicators for now to capture poverty both in urban and rural areas, and what we find is 85% of the MPA poor across the countries we analyzed live in rural areas. The rural share varies from different region to region, but especially in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, the rural share is particularly high, is 86% or more. Again, within each region, there is a wide variation across countries. The countries which have 95% of their poor population living in rural areas, Burundi and Madagascar in Sub-Saharan Africa, Nepal and Bhutan in South Asia, and Cambodia in East Asia and Pacific. In this table, which looks slightly smaller, but I hope you may able to see, we compare the proportion of people living in rural areas according to the in multidimensional poverty, and also according to the income poverty measures based on national poverty line. We find that, as I said, 85% or 84.7% of the population, the MPA poor living in rural areas. When we look at the income poverty figures, we find this figure to be only 71.4% based on the national poverty lines. The other aspect that we explore is to understand if the reduction in poverty has helped all the poor population, whether the reduction in poverty has been shared by all. In order to understand that, we compute a new measure of inequality among the poor, and we compute that measure for 90 countries, the survey ranging from 2005 to 2013. We find the highest levels of inequality among the poor or across their multiple deprivations in Sub-Saharan African countries, South Asian countries, Yemen and Somalia. The greatest inequality among the poor was found in Burkina Faso. We use 34 countries as Anna presented for intertemporal analysis. So we analyzed those countries over time. And we found in majority of the countries, the reduction in poverty was accompanied by a reduction in inequality across the multiple deprivations among the poor, which is a positive news. Just to give you a flavor of what, even if we report multidimensional poverty index, incidence and intensity, what we may not capture and why we created the measure of inequality across the poor. You can see here the example of Egypt and Suriname. Both countries have similar level of multidimensional poverty index, similar level of incidence, which is presented by age, and similar level of intensity. However, if you look at the distribution of multiple deprivations or intensity across a poor population, it's quite different in these two countries. Now, when we are talking about inequality or disparity, it is not just shared by all poor, but we need to understand that reduction of poverty at the national level has been shared across all groups. As Anna presented, that some of the ethnic group did not reduce poverty. Some of the poorest ethnic groups did not poverty faster than the less poor ethnic group. We also present a new measure of subnational disparity across regional MPIs. And we analyzed 31 countries over time. Note that inequality across the poor went down almost for all countries, or majority of the countries. That did not happen for in case of subnational disparity. 15 of those 31 countries had reduction in subnational disparity, 15 did not, and one country, India, in India actually subnational disparity increased over time. Again, just to give you a flavor in terms of graphical depictions, you can see that the green color bubbles for Egypt and Haiti shows that larger the level of initial multidimensional poverty index, larger is the reduction that is presented on the vertical axis. Whereas the red bubbles from Mozambique and India, Mozambique actually did not change national disparity. It did not go down, it didn't go up either. But for India, actually, we found their statistically significant increase in subnational disparity over time. I'll leave it to Sabina to present the distribution.